All right. Well, welcome everybody. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to hear us launch our Matic Mail product that we just announced a few weeks back within Matic. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Mijic. I'm one of the co-founders of Matic.io. And what we try to do at Matic is automate the generation of data-driven content within PowerPoint and Google Slides. And we're really, really excited to announce the email today. And just to kind of paint the picture of what we're trying to solve for and the problem that we're tackling as a company is we work with a lot of customer success and sales teams who are doing externally facing content. So think like a business review, a renewal deck, an ROI one pager, anything where you're having to go and pull a lot of data, put it into some sort of a narrative, and then share it with a customer or prospect. So what we see most commonly is you have a template per se, right? In PowerPoint or Google Slides, so you copy the template. From there, you have to go and pull the data. And that requires to maybe go to multiple data sources. So you might go to a CRM, you may go to a BI tool, you may even have to go to a data warehouse, you may have to request data. And then you got to prep the deck. You then even may need to even get it approved by marketing. And then you do kind of final check and review to make sure all the insights are accurate. You're doing all of that for one piece of content. So very straightforward just for one piece of content. So what our goal here is when you're doing that, there's a lot of touch points for a customer, right? So that you may do a business review, you may do an onboarding deck here, feature adoption one pager, a check-in one pager that you do maybe on a set cadence, like monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, as well as the business review that you're doing with, maybe executives at your account. And so that's just for one customer across all of these different touch points. But the problem then arises when you have to do that for all of your accounts, right? You got to repeat that entire process, pulling the data, making meaningful insights, formatting, putting into a presentation, not just for one account, but how do you do it for all of your customers, regardless of whether or not they're a strategic account, enterprise, mid-market, whatever vertical or segment that they're in. And so that's where we come in. We've built a platform that allows you to connect to a variety of data sources. So whether it is a BI tool like Looker or Tableau, a database like Snowflake, Google BigQuery, even a CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot, you can connect to those different data sources. And from there, you have the ability to then automate text, charts, tables, all within PowerPoint or Google Slides, and then populate those use cases like we talked about, kickoffs, one pagers, check-in decks, business case decks, anything along those lines. And we work with companies like Asana, SalesLoft, Greenhouse, and many others, specifically with their customer success and sales teams to automate this data-driven content. Great. And so why does this matter? If you talk to our customers, you'll see that there's some really tangible results and outcomes that come from automating data-driven content. So Handshake, what we saw there was that 50% of their closed won revenue we influenced by adding a QBR renewal deck. SalesLoft, 84% of those accounts that did receive a QBR not only renewed, but they also upgraded, they upsold. And then last but not least, and especially in today's world where you do have, you have to do more with less. I know that there's a lot going on with the macroeconomic environment. So you may not have the resources to hire more CSMs or account managers. How do you increase your account coverage? And Greenhouse was able to do that, but they were able to touch 32% more accounts in their book of business with data-driven content. And so I would love to introduce Matic Mail. And what we're trying to solve for with Matic Mail is how do you bring that data-driven content to all of your accounts? So not just picking and choosing, your enterprise accounts or strategic accounts. How do you go and scale that data-driven content, whether it's a one-pager, whether it's a business review, a renewal deck. How do you make that available to all of your accounts and you distribute it to all of those key stakeholders at those accounts? And so that's what we're trying to do here is we're automating the creation of the data-driven content. So for example, let's say I have a one pager that I want to send out on a monthly basis, right? Not only creating that one pager, so that Google slide deck or PowerPoint deck, but also updating all of the data that's within that one pager, whether it's a chart, text, tables, even images from all those different data sources that we talked about a little bit earlier. And then not just creating that content, but then sending it programmatically, right, via email. So solving that distribution problem that I just talked about a little bit earlier, and attaching it automatically via email and then sending it to your key stakeholders at those accounts. And then last but not least, also being able to use that data that's in the one pager or in the document, the presentation that we're generating, but using it in the body of the email itself, which is to include those high level stats within the body of the email. And then last but not least, the data lives in a lot of places. So we are allowing you to create these send lists from a variety of data sources. So if you have all your contacts within Salesforce, you can easily create a send list from going to Salesforce. You can go to a data warehouse like Redshift, or even a customer success platform like Gainsight. You have the ability to do that. But if you don't have those tools, a basic Google Sheet or a Microsoft Excel doc, you can upload that to Matik, and that could be used as your send list. And so you may ask, like, what are some of the things that you can automate? Obviously, for the customer success persona, quarterly business reviews are something that we see quite a bit across our customer base. Executive business reviews, renewal decks, anything where you're going to have to pull a lot of data to go and illustrate the value of your product or service to your customers. One pagers, that's something that I'll be demoing here soon. One pagers have been a huge format that we've seen across our customer base, whether it is a check-in, whether it's a follow-up to a QBR, pitch decks, ROI calculators, value analysis, benchmarking. That's something that we've seen, like I said, a huge uptick, not just showing data, but how do you show that data and compare it to something that gives your prospect or your customer a better way to interpret their data, right? So these are some of the use cases that we've seen our customers onboard to Matik that you can go ahead and automate with our platform. So without further ado, we'll jump into the product and showcase our new Matik mail feature. So I'm going to come in here. So before I jump in, basically, I'll kind of step back. Let's pretend that I am a customer success manager at a company called Simple Ticket. So think like a ticketing tool. And the process today and what we do really well is we help you go and generate, like I said, any type of a repetitive data-driven narrative. So if I've got a one pager, for example, that I want to go ahead and automate, I can do so. As you can see, here is the one pager. There are some inputs off to the left-hand side that you will go ahead and populate. And so the workflow today is I go and fill out those inputs. So let's say I'm Jane. This is for Wonka. That's the account that I want to generate the one pager for. They're in the manufacturing industry. And I'm going to go and select, I want data for the last 3 months. And then I would go ahead and generate. And now what this is doing, it's going in and pulling all the data on my behalf, formatting all the content and spitting out a native presentation in PowerPoint or Google Slides. So this will be in Google Slides. And this is kind of what you will see here. As you can see, here is the final presentation. So populated all of these numbers on my behalf. So the text here, this chart, all the things that I would have had to do manually was now done by Matik. And I don't have to go and do that. And I can go and send this to the customer. So the problem that we're solving with Matik Mail is allowing you to go and do this in bulk. So not just generating one at a time and then sending it out via email, but how can we go and generate, let's say, 500 of these all at once for 500 different accounts, and then distribute them via email on your behalf. And that's where Matic Mail comes in. So now what I have is you have the ability to set up an email template directly within our product, where similar workflow, you have the inputs that you see off to the left-hand side. You see the body of the email that you can customize. You can add in the data from the one pager into the body of the email. And then as you can see, we will attach on your behalf the one pager that we generate to the email that gets sent. Nice thing is you do have the ability to customize the subject line. It can be dynamic. The contact list or the send list is extremely customizable. So we can pull from a variety of data sources. So for example, if all your contacts at an account live in Salesforce, you can add filters. Like I only want to look at decision maker roles. I want to just send it out to decision makers. So you can filter for that criteria. And then last but not least, you can also update the from and the reply to as well, who it gets replied to. So what I'll do here, same exact workflow as if I was to go and generate just an individual presentation. I would go ahead and fill out the inputs, but instead of selecting one account, I have the ability to select all of my accounts. So in this case, I'm going to select Wonka, Rich Industries, Payscale, and Burns. And again, I'm going to do the last 3 months. And then I have the ability to go and generate this email. And what it'll do is it'll generate 4 different one-pagers and data for each of these accounts, and it'll attach it and send it to the recipients that are associated with those accounts. So this is what it'll look like. As you can see here, here's the email. I did a test. So you do have the ability to basically see all the data that gets populated in the body of the email, as well as you get to see the attachment that got created on my behalf that's attached to the email. So what used to take, let's say, hours upon hours a week to go and distribute this content, now with the click of a button, you have the ability for Matic to go and distribute this in a personalized way to all of your accounts. So I'll show you here what your customer or your prospect would see. So you can see here is the email itself, right? It pulled in all the data. And then last but not least, it actually attached the document as well with all of the data included within the document. So that is Matic Mail at a high level in terms of how we distribute that content. Again, our goal here is to really kind of automate that entire process end to end. So not just creating the content, the one pagers, the QBR decks, but also distributing that content on your behalf to all of your accounts. So not just specific accounts. So I know it's a lot that we covered, but would love to answer any questions that folks have. It can be anything from what we're trying to solve for to happy to double click anything within the demo itself. Okay, we got a question here about how to create, how do you create the contact list, if we can showcase that. So let me go in here. So the way that the contact list works is you can go and create a piece of dynamic content. So in this case, I've got this here. Let me scroll up. So as you can see here, this is going to Salesforce. We are using Salesforce's APIs. And as you can see, we're going to the contact object where the contacts live and the recipients lived. We're pulling the emails. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of filters. So I only want to send the email and the one pager to our key contacts. So you can, if you have contact roles, you can also filter on that. But anything that is on the contact object, you can go ahead and filter on. And then last but not least, we want to filter on account name. So we only want to send out to the one pagers that we're creating content for. We're going to go and filter on that behalf. So that's how you go ahead and create a contact send list. We got another question around can Matic Mail insert graphs and reports? So again, we can do the reports. So as you can see here, the test that I generated, this email here, not only has the data within the email, but it also attached the one pager as a report to the email itself. We can't do charts at the moment within the body of the email. That is something that we're going to be working on in terms of charts as well as tables. So right now, what we support within the email is text and images are things that we support. Yes, so we do have scheduling. So today, one of the things that we have when we go and generate a presentation, so in this case, I'll go back here. Actually, let me go in here real quick. We do have scheduling available when you go and generate these presentations. So if I go and do this for like the last 3 months, you have this scheduling where I say, I want to go and generate this presentation or these sets of presentations every single month for these accounts. We'll be adding that here shortly to the email as well. It is available for the presentations. It'll be coming here shortly for email. Great questions. Awesome. Any other questions around Matic Mail or any of the functionalities within the product? Awesome. Well, last but not least, we are doing a promo. So if you are wanting to go and test out how you can scale and increase your account coverage with our product, feel free to scan this QR code. We are doing a 1-month free access where you can go out and test it out. So I'd love to have you test out the product, give us feedback. But we're super, super excited about the functionality that this is going to provide within the marketplace. It's something that we have seen requested quite a bit from our customers, and I think is a really unique value prop in being able to not just generate this data-driven content, so these one-pagers, QBRs, but also distribute them more programmatically, again, especially with the macroeconomic environment and being able to do more with less. So thank you, everyone. Really do appreciate the time. Hope you enjoyed the content today. Don't hesitate to scan the QR code and also reach out directly if you have any additional questions or want to learn more about our product or service.